This is my end of January wrap up, the second half of January, and it is a little bit earlier because I've closed January off a few days before the end of the month, and if you follow my videos going forward, you'll know why. So I finished early, and I still managed to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I still managed to read 6 books. And I started off with, let me just turn to the right page in my little book. Oh, do you know, I've lost it. Right, I started off with a Fitzcarraldo one that comes out on the 7th of March, and it's called It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over by Marken. And this was described as being sharp and funny, but I found it quite dark and sad. It's poetic, it's unstructured, and that fits in with our narrator as she is searching for meaning, because our narrator in this book is in limbo. She's not alive and she's not dead. She's in that between world. The B horror movies would describe her as a zombie, but it's not a zombie. But she is not a zombie in the terms that you see all these horror movies. She's losing body parts and she's losing her memories, but she remembers a you that she talks to the whole time. She talks to you the whole time she's addressing this you, and you get the feeling that this you was the love of her life, and she is struggling to hold on to that memory when all her other memories are going. She doesn't even know her own name, and she observes everything and she tries to accept her new state, but the loss of you is painful for her. And in this book, there's questions of life and death, and the ending is very surreal. And yeah, that was an interesting, a sad read. I found it sad. It's described as sharp and funny, but I found it sad. Then the next one I read was another arc. It comes out on the 14th of March, and it's a fair light modern called Dancing in the Shallows. And I'd say there's no real plot in this one, but it's full of family and love and beautiful descriptions of the Isle of Skye. Isla's been left a cottage by a grandfather that she met once when she was a child. And before she makes any decisions about selling it, she goes to visit it. She gets in a car and drives over 500 miles from one end of the country up to the Isle of Skye. And the house is a bit sad, a bit run down, but the views, it's next to the sea and she can go swimming every day. Water is a theme in this book. You have chapters where you meet her mother, you meet her estranged father, you glimpse the grandfather who left her the cottage, you glimpse her great-grandmother who inspires her. You see everybody's strengths and vulnerabilities, and the relationships which, like the sea, ebb and flow. But like the sea, the relationship's always constant. And it's a book that leaves you very warm and satisfied, and I enjoyed that one. Then I went on to this one. It's one that there was a lot of hype about it last year. So I thought, well, it was in the charity shop, so I'll pick it up and have a read. Really good, actually, by Monica Heisey. And I am so glad that Maggie in this book is not my friend, because I just bailed on her. Does that make me a bad person? Probably, but I would definitely have bailed on her. She's in her late 20s and she's getting a divorce, and the book is basically her first year as a prospective divorcee, because she has to wait a year to get all the paperwork done, whatever. And she's basically on a, well, in my opinion, she's on a path of self-destruction and self-loathing. She bombards her ex with texts. She joins dating apps. And she has hookup after hookup after hookup with men, with women. She loses interest in her job. Her friends deserve medals for sticking by her, because I just couldn't. There were some funny bits, but I just found her so irritating. It just wasn't a book that I can say I really enjoyed, because I just did not like Maggie. I just found her irritating, maybe because she's in her 20s and I'm not. But, you know, you get to think, you're not the only person ever to have a divorce. Get over it. Move on. But she just didn't. Then I read this one that I was gifted. And it's non-fiction, and I don't normally read non-fiction. I look at the size of it. 696 pages, I think it is. And it's a centennial biography of Maria Callas. I know bits of Maria Callas. I know sort of things about her, but I'd never really studied her in person, in detail. The writing style, I know this author's writing style because I've read the first three in her fiction, in the Crooked Little Pieces, volumes 1, 2 and 3. So her writing style is familiar to me, so it's easy to slip into. And this book fills in all the details about Maria Callas that I didn't know. You know, her childhood, when she's a lanky child, an awkward child, this child wanting to be a star with a mother who's pushing her to be a child prodigy. The 15-year-old debut, when she debuted on stage as a 15-year-old child, how she's driven, how she funds herself. And you see that music is important to her. It's not the glory that she craves, it's being satisfied with what she is. It's the music that is important, not the glory. We see her vulnerability, and we also see her steeliness, especially when she's dealing with Aristotle and Assos. And you see her ending when she's, after everything, she's just alone. It took Sophia Lambton 12 years to get everything ready for this book, and hats off to her. It's an incredible piece of work, and I found it, I'm not a non-fiction lover, but I found it eminently readable. Then I moved on to another arc, and it was Small Wars in Madrid by Anthony Ferner, and it's another Fairlight Modern, comes out on the 14th of March. And it's almost a book of self-discovery. David Aguilera, he'd got everything. He had a naval career, he had a wife, he had a family, but then he lost his ship in an accident, and he was faced with a perilous trip over the Baltics home. And the trauma of that, he got home and he couldn't reconnect with his family. And he's, on top of this, he's got to face an inquiry over the loss of the vessel. And then his conflict over his faith, because he was brought up as a Catholic. When he was adopted as an infant and into a Catholic family and brought up as a Catholic. But his mother, his birth mother, is Jewish. His wife's Jewish. And so this is conflict of religion as well. Is he Catholic? Is he Jewish? Where does he belong? So he's got everything. He's trying to find himself in this book. And I liked him. I just wished he would talk more to his wife, Marguerite, who is lovely and warm. But yes, I enjoyed meeting David Aguilera. And the last one I read this this month was Richard Osman's The Man Who Died Twice, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I was a long time picking this one up because when I read the first one, it didn't really grab me, but this one did. Absolutely, this one did. This was the book that I hoped the first one would be. We've still got our 4 pensioners, Elizabeth, Ron, Joyce and Ibrahim. We've still got our 2 PCs, Chris and Donna, and we've got Bogdan, who turns his hand to everything. And in this story, Elizabeth's ex-husband contacts her because he's stolen diamonds off a money launderer. He's under the protection of MI5, and he's moved into Elizabeth's retirement village so that she can hopefully help with MI5 to protect him. So that's one part of the story. We've got Ibrahim, who is mugged, and we've got Chris and Donna trying to catch the town's criminal mastermind, Connie Fisher. And it's full of murder, it's full of intrigue, it's full of humour, and I adore Joyce. She is my favourite character. I love her little first person updates of what's going on, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I can't say that I thoroughly enjoyed the first one, but this one I definitely did. So those were the 6 books I read in the second half of January that I've cut off early. So my book of the month, I think I am still going to go for Clare Keegan's So Late in the Day. That is still my book of the month. It was my book of the first half of the month. The Man Who Died Twice, a very close runner in second place, but I just love the emotion in Clare Keegan's books. If a book's got emotion in it, that's what normally grabs me. So that was January, and I will now move on to February. I've got, I think the full videos for these I'm going to schedule because while I'm away, so you'll probably see me popping up as well as the other videos that I'll be posting. So happy reading, take care.